Thank you very much. Cheers, Dan. Yeah, thank you very much for everybody. My name's Adam. I'm a very grateful recovered drug addict. I just want to give thanks to the committee for putting this meeting on tonight and those done service as well. And what an honour and privilege it is to be. I'm the honest meeting in ages, and it's great to be here again. Bit of a disclaimer. Look, I'm not a circuit speaker. I'm not a yogi meditation. I don't know the big book inside and out. I'm not a big book thumper or anything like that. If I'm being totally honest, I'm a tree surgeon from the middle of Lincolnshire with a horrendous fucking drug problem, and it's no more, no less. But I've been through a 12-step program, um, and I haven't felt the need to drink or use or think about it in the past 16 months, which blows my fucking mind. It could have been sooner. I picked up newcomer chip after newcomer chip after newcomer chip. I was in and out for about 4 years, man, until I finally gave up. Um, and if I'd have known back then how good my life would be today, I'd have probably have given up a lot sooner. But the reason I say that is if you are struggling or you're back off your 30th relapse or you've been to detox 7 or 8 times and you're wondering what's the fucking point, if you feel like a fuck up among fuck ups, I totally get it. But the reason I say it is stick about, honestly, because I felt like you have. I felt the same way, but I'm glad I did stick about until the magic did happen. Look, the big book tells me to talk about in a general way what I was like, what happened, and what I'm like now. I'm not going to give a massive drug log. I mean, to be honest with you, I haven't really got one. I'm probably going to give you the most dullest what I was like story you've ever heard in your life. It really wasn't that exciting. I didn't go anywhere. I didn't do anything crazy. I couldn't afford to. I was too scared to leave my town in case I couldn't find drug dealers elsewhere. It was as simple as that. But for all intents and purposes, for identification, I mean, I'd wake up every single day at like 6, 7 a.m. It didn't matter what day it was, it really didn't. It was the same thing every day. And I remember opening my eyes, and my first thought would always be, okay, first of all, where am I? Um, what did I say to him last night? What did I say to her last night? Have I got any money left? Have I not got any money left? Have I got any gear left? Probably not. Did I sell it like I was supposed to? Have I sniffed it all again? I probably sniffed it all again. I've got to be at work in like 45 minutes. I don't want to go to work. I've got to go to work. So I've got to pay off a load of dealers. Or if not, I'm going to get my head caved in. My life is awful. Everybody's wronging me. If everything would just sort itself out, life would be a better place. That is how I would start every single morning, mate. That was my morning routine before I found Cocaine Anonymous, right? And I mean, that's a perfect green light to drink and use just like that because I did not want to sit in those emotions all day. I'd get up, I'd put on the same high vis clothing I've been wearing for like 5 days. That's like brown by this point. Um, and I'd get in my car to go to work, and then I'd get into my car, start blaming others for how I feel because I've got like 20 miles in my fuel, and I work's like 25 miles away, and I'll start saying to myself, work paid me more, I wouldn't be in this situation. Completely blind to the fact I've probably spent it on gear anyway. I'd get to work, and that's when all these lies would start. People ask me, "Oh, what were you up to last night?" You look a bit under the weather. Are you okay? And I, try and play it off like I went to the gym last night. I tried a kebab or some shit like that I came up with. Completely dishonest, living a lie all day. Um, obsessing, obsessing about how I can drink and use because I don't want to sit in these feelings or emotions. Praying I'm going to work with someone that will enable it, with no due care at all about who I'm working with or how that might affect them or anything like that. Um, and then I do that slog, 8 hours through work, feeling miserable, feeling like utter shite, thinking about all the wrongs I've always done, how much of a horrible person I am, all these things. And then as soon as work finished, it was just a race out the yard, use, set off the allergy, go home. Mum and dad would be laying at the dinner table, just wondering where the hell I've been for the past 5 days. I come up with some stupid reason as to why I've got to go out in such a hurry because I'm such a busy man all of a sudden. And then go out and do whatever I can to drink and use successfully that night. I mean, for me, it was either stealing or selling. I was shit at both of them, so I'm not even going to bother talking about it. But it was just that whole, and I hate talking about it because I hate being reminded of it, but it's that whole clockwork thing of it's 7 p.m. I'll just have one more and then I'll go to bed. I need to go to bed tonight. I've had no sleep for like 4 or 5 days. 7 p.m. I'm calling it quits. And then it's 9 p.m. I'm thinking, all right, one more for the road and let's get out of here. Then it's 11 p.m. And I'm thinking, well, I can't go home back now. Right now, it's a bit dodgy, but if I just get to sleep on this grotty sofa, that's all right, isn't it? Then it's 1 a.m. and I'm thinking, right, well, 5 hours ain't too bad. One more and then we'll sort it out. And it's 3 a.m. and I'm stuck in the same situation again. Why have I done this? I'm sat in my pants, peeking through a window, thinking a Lincolnshire constabulary out in full force to come and get me with like little to no drugs at all. Scared to death, mate. And as bad as that already is, I mean, A, that isn't normal. Like, I don't know any of my mates who go through that experience once and continue to keep doing it. And B, I spent all this money throughout my life, gone through all this misery and pain and depression, put my family through so much shit just to feel like that every night. That's ridiculous. Do you know what I mean? That is ridiculous. But I didn't know what else to do. I didn't know what else to do, and it wasn't explained to me why I was like that until I came to Cocaine Anonymous. I thought I had some sort of disease I didn't know about, or I was like just some sort of concoction of mental health illnesses, and this is why I'm like I am. And the truth of the matter is, if I was ever honest with anybody about it, when they asked me why can I not stop, my honest answer would be I just don't know. I have no more of an idea than you do as to why I can't stop this. And this went on and on and on every day for years, until eventually, after some sort of spectacular consequence, because I would have periods where I'd stop for a couple of weeks or something like that. And then it'd slowly creep back in again. I think I've got a hang of this. And that's why I would think I'm not an addict, because I've got a couple of weeks, I've just had a bit of bud or something like that. And then it starts again. But on this particular occasion, my mum used to bang on and on and on about Cocaine Anonymous. And I used to kind of push it to the side, if I'm being honest with you, because it sounded a bit sobering, and I wasn't really a fan of that idea. But on this particular night, I listened and I went on the meeting, and I'd be lying if I told you what was said or what I heard. But I remember identifying what people were saying, and I came off that meeting a bit pissed off actually, because I was hoping that you guys were gonna completely different. I didn't qualify here, but I did, and that was the start of it all. That was the start of it all. Now, I didn't get sober straight away. I wish I could tell you that I did. That's not my experience, man. And I could go through every single reason why I didn't get it to begin with. But I'll spare you all that and just keep it as simple as it is. I just wasn't done yet. For whatever reason, I just wasn't done yet. Whether it was lack of willingness, lack of trying to be somebody that I'm not, still hanging on to old ideas, trying to steal vicarious pleasures of the past, all these different reasons as to why I couldn't get it before. I just wasn't done yet. Until I was, and the thing is, I didn't even know I was. Like a little over 16 months ago, I had no idea that I was done this time. In fact, to be honest with you, I couldn't have thought of anything worse to do than go through the steps again. But I remember saying to my sponsor, I didn't know what to do. And I just meant that so honestly. I just don't know what to do anymore. I haven't got any ideas. And that was the moment that I conceded that whatever I'm doing, whatever I'm trying, it clearly ain't working. So I best try and listen. And I remember my sponsor saying to me something really quaint, like, "Why don't you just try God this time?" I don't know. I thought, fuck's sakes. But I was expecting some sort of really like out there big quote that was going to change my perception on everything. It's like, "I'm just try God this time. Whatever you're doing, it ain't working, mate." And I was like, okay. And we started to go through this stuff. He gave me a few directions to do in the morning: prayer on my knees. It don't matter what I'm praying to or what I believe. It doesn't really matter. Just do it anyway. Meditate. It doesn't matter if you're not a yogi in meditation right now, just 5 minutes of just being able to sit with yourself despite what's going on in your head. Do a gratitude list, because, just having water, just having a toilet, just being able to go to work, just having food in my fridge, that's better than most of the world. That's better than most of the world. Call some people and ask them how they are, and do not monologue your crap onto them. Just spend 2 minutes asking somebody else how their day's going, if you can manage that. Go to meetings and be a part of the meeting. Now, whether that's even just if you're 2 days in, saying hello to whoever's new there, giving them your number, showing them where the big books are, showing them where the toilets are, showing them where the coffee station is, anything like that, you can be of service straight away. Get involved in service and stick about. Then we started to go through the steps. I'm not going to give you a step log because you've either been through them or you haven't. If you've been through them, you know what they are. And if you haven't, it would make no sense to you anyway. So I'm not going to waste your time doing that. And I don't want to rob you of the experience either. But as we started to go through this work, he explained to me why I am like I am. Now, powerlessness is easy enough to understand. I've got enough evidence to support that I clearly ain't in charge here. And when I am, it goes categorically tits up every single time. That's evidence enough. However, I didn't understand why I was like I was, and that's where unmanageability came into it. You know, and I don't mean I can't get up to work on time or my finances are in a mess. I mean, that definitely 100% was the case. But I mean, inside, I don't understand my emotions. I don't understand how I'm supposed to feel. If I feel one way or another, I'm not sure what it is. I feel uncomfortable all the time. I'm either fearful or anxious or worried about things that don't even exist. All these things that push me to drink and use every time because I don't want to feel like that. No, I'm powerless because I'm unmanageable, and I'm unmanageable because I'm powerless. And when it was explained to me like this, it made a little bit more sense why I am like I am. Um, as we move further on through the steps, through a few different chapters, you know, we had to look at the God side of all this. And, you know, I used to turn my nose up at this stuff. A, I didn't think it was necessary. And B, I just, it wasn't really my sort of thing. But he simplified it as much as he could. And he said, Adam, do you believe at least that I believe in God? And, you know, he seemed like the mental enough type that probably would believe in something like that. So I believed him. And that was enough to make my start in this. It was that simple. You know, today it's changed and grown. You know, for me today, God is God. When I'm praying, you know, I'm praying for all these assets that I need in my life. You know, to be tolerant, to be patient, to be respectful, to be loyal, to be honest. To try and be myself, whatever that is, or at least at the very case, try and be the person who I don't want to be today. I can manage that just about. And as we started to go through these steps, you know, God's helped me to push through 4 to 9. And the main thing that I learned through 4 to 9 is that I am the problem. Um, whether I like to think that or not, it's all me. I went through my step 4 and I couldn't even find one single resentment that I could justify. I've had a part to play in it somewhere where I've made a mistake or a cock up or blown out of proportion massively where it doesn't even make sense anymore. It's all in my head, man. But going through these things, being able to make amends, it was all a really powerful process, and it's not something that you should be scared of either. It was a beautiful thing. My amends was quite funny actually because I really thought that all these people wanted to hear from me for a long time. Like I thought I was really playing on people's heads, and that when I was going to give them a call, they were going to be wondering what I was doing, where I've been, what I've been up to, why I've ignored them for all this time. And most people, when I got in touch with them, they actually said, I'm not sure who you are, mate. Why are you calling me? That's all I got from it all, you know. So, you know, it was a powerful lesson. I'm not the most important person in the universe, and that's quite a revelation. I'm happy with that. Once I got through these bits and pieces, you know, when I've opened myself up, tried my best to right my wrongs, it was time to start looking at how I can keep progressing in my recovery and my spirituality so I can be somewhat useful to the outside world. And that comes through 10 and 11. In step 10, I was taught to take inventory. Now, someone told me ages ago that it takes something like 10,000 neuro movements, something ridiculous like that, to change your thinking or behavior patterns. So that's a lot of inventory you've got to do, man. But through looking at myself, through fear inventories, through spot checking resentments, harms, ego, all these sorts of things, fears, tiny little increments of progress have been made, little increments, you know. I was just a complete bullshit when I got in here, to be honest with you. I'd lie about what happened to you if I thought it'd impress you. You know, but you know, today as a result of constantly looking at these things, it's changed. I'm a reasonably honest person nowadays. That's what this program can do. It can bring out these defects and change them into assets and keep you moving forward in the world. And as a result of going through 10, looking at my step 11, my morning routine, which for me today now is just reflective thinking about my day ahead, where I can be of service to others in situations. How can I best be of service to God, to my fellows, and be helpful? And I keep it as simple as that, man. And through doing that, it sets me up for the day, so I have some sort of a reasonable idea of how to act. Because if I have to act in self, man, I've got absolutely no chance. You don't want to be around me, and I will not be of usefulness whatsoever. But as a direct result of doing these things, man, my days are a lot more peaceful most of the time. I mean, don't get me wrong, I make cock up after cock up, but it's a lot better than it used to be, that's for sure. It really is. After I got through the steps, I was told I had to sponsor others. Now, sponsorship is not only is it an honor and a privilege to take people through the steps and watch them change, it's taught me how to be accountable to other people. It's taught me how to be tolerant of others. It's taught me to take out time for other people, even if it's inconvenient for me. But most importantly, it's given me a sense of pride in other people, where I've started to get pleasure in watching them grow and them recreate their lives, and then move forward, which is something I never used to be because I was so self-centered, man. I didn't care about things like that, but today I love it. So if you aren't sponsoring, please get involved and pass this on. Do not be a recovery thief. You're missing out on so much. You're missing out on a beautiful part of the 12 steps. You really are. But as a direct result of doing these things on a day-to-day basis, keeping consistent, whether I want to or not, being honest, um, remaining firmly in the program, my life has changed absolutely. There's not one part of my life that hasn't been positively affected, but as a result of being in Cocaine Anonymous. Um, I'm able to go to work today. I think in the past 16 months, I've had 3 days off ill because I was ill. That was the only reason. I've gone from hardly turning up to work to becoming a fully qualified arborist. I'm in a healthy relationship today. Someone actually wants me around them. And I'm able to practice principles in that relationship too, and hopefully be helpful to them. My family are downstairs, man. Don't get me wrong. They're recovering. They're not recovered, but it's almost as if that past doesn't exist anymore. I can go to my mum and dad about anything, and they can come to me for advice and help. Either they didn't even really want to look at me at one point. Today I've got these beautiful things back in my life, and more importantly, I don't need to drink and use, and I don't want to either. I haven't felt the need to drink and use or even thought about it in such a long time now. And that's a direct result of doing this stuff, sticking close to my fellows, working the program, being honest, being of service, and doing whatever I can to remain here. My life's beautiful today. I smiled today, man. I was a really, really, really boring fucker at one point. I didn't smile for a lot of things, but today I love it. So if you're struggling, if you're back from relapse, or even if you're years in and you're sick and tired of it all, reach out, be honest, talk to some people, get a sponsor if you haven't got one, get a big book if you haven't got one, stick around. Miracles happening here. I see it every single day. So please get a big book, get a sponsor, and work the steps. I'm going to call it there because if not, I'll just start rambling. But thank you very much for letting me share tonight. Cheers.